Welcome, beautiful ones, mm, to our sixth session of Spring Qigong. And in this session, we're going to connect with the tree of life as a master teacher. And we're going to practice an art which is called feminine power, which helps liberate us and awaken us to our potentials in a very loving and an powerful and holistic way. So we're going to unlock Power Center 1 and we're going to unlock some of these shame-based meanings that we tell ourselves about who we are, who we're not, what's possible for us, what's not possible for us. And so while we are coming together, we are about to stitch in. And so as we're preparing ourselves to stitch in, I invite us to drop in for a few moments for a short grounding, and then we'll stitch in from there. So, as we are preparing for this practice, as we gently turn our gaze inward, finding our breath, and allowing our attention and our awareness to drop down through the center of our body, down into our hips, down through our legs, down through the soles of our feet, and into the earth, connecting with our roots. In this session, we're going to spend quite a bit of time connecting with our roots. So, as your attention drops down through the midline of your body, all the way down into the root of your being, into Great Mother, just feel your roots branch out and extend, feeling anchored, feeling nourished. Trees can live for hundreds, sometimes thousands of years because they are connected to all of their sources all of the time. And your roots connect with the water, with the nourishment of life, with the life forms in the soil. They communicate to the other trees, to the other beings. When the roots are deeply nourished and anchored and stable, then the entire tree is nourished. So, with your next breath, drawing some of this nourishment up from the earth, up through your legs, up through your torso, out through your arms, out through your branches, and out through your canopy. And just really feeling yourself extending outward as if your energy is extending to fulfill your entire body and now extending to fill the edges of the room and expanding upward. And trees have branches that can sway in the wind. They can receive the sensations from the wind and they flow with the wind. They are resilient and flexible and strong, but they're not too brittle. And then when they do they branch out with their leaves. They are able to connect with the sunlight, the moonlight, the starlight, the cosmic light. And when they can also connect with the cosmic waters and the rain water, and when they are receiving the light in its many forms and receiving the wind and the ability to move with the wind while staying rooted, they are connected to all their sources all the time. Now, seeing yourself as that, you're branching out, growing up, connecting to all your sources, connecting to the divine and to the sacred as you breathe that in through your canopy in through your skin, in through your leaves and bark, into your body. And trees are wonderful communicators. They live in community. They don't do any of it alone. And so, as we're grounding in here into our own presence, that's what Power Center 1 is about, our own presence, our own body, our own personal power. Yet we are in community. We're in a sacred grove of ancient of trees of all ages, of saplings and mid-grade, middle-aged trees and ancient trees. And we're connecting with this tree of life as a living bodhisattva, as a living being that is connected to eternity, that has the ability to extend itself and grow, and has the ability to nourish itself and those around it. When the tree thrives, an entire ecosystem thrives. So as we have this opening backdrop, as we're connecting ourselves and imprinting ourselves with the imprint of the tree of life, I invite you to take your time, but join the circle, and to also, as you're joining the circle, we're about to stitch in. And so as you gently open your eyes and you start to meet the eyes of the other sisters in the circle, and you are about to share your medicine into the circle, I also want you to take a moment to reconnect with your area of self-actualization, your area of intention that you're working with. And we're going to bring that to the forefront, and we're going to work with it the entire session. So when you stitch in, share your medicine, but remind us all your area that you're working on, your area of intention. And as you're slowly arriving here, I'll stitch in and light my candle. I'm bringing in acceptance and preparation. And my area is of health in my body. I'll share more about it, but health in my body. What's here?
I'm stitching in with swaying in the wind, or swaying with the wind, whichever way that feels better to your ears. And my area is harmony of health and home. So my home and health and harmony. That's my area I'm working on this evening.
Brilliant. Harmony in your health and home. Swaying with the wind, in the wind. Chimes are ringing. Wind chimes.
And it is very windy here at my house in California, by the way. So I didn't even realize that till I just peeked out the window.
A storm is rolling in here.
Yeah, well, Rochelle, while you were saying swaying, I was looking at these trees out here, and they're just swaying back and forth. And my I'm stitching in with gathering, gather. I there's this Osage orange tree that I love that's on the bicycle trail. And I found a sign that says gather. And when I find myself being a tree, I find myself those orange roots, and the healing power of the Osage orange has really spoken to me for a handful of years. And I put this sign that says gather, and that just kept on coming up because it is spring and we are gathering. And what I'm working on is financial freedom, my finances, but with that, to have health and harmony. I'm seeing how the more I get busy, it's harder for me to get on my bicycle and such. And so I really want that balance as I continue to gain new clients, as I continue to work on my finances. I can't even say it because it's so uncomfortable. But I kind of had fun the other day playing with my finances, and I was like, okay, I can find a way to enjoy going through this difficult time of learning how to have a healthy feeling with my finances in my work. That's what I have to say.
Bringing it in. Yeah, I love that. Yeah. A lot of times when I'm doing my taxes stuff, I'm like, this is self-care. This is self-love.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Exciting. Beautiful stuff to work with.
Just wanted to say I missed y'all last week.
We miss you. Yeah.
I will say I'm a little distracted right now. I'm in the midst of a reaction to something. And I haven't figured out what that reaction is yet in order to be able to release it and soothe. So if I'm not making a little bit of sense, that's why. My area was heart and relationships and love. And this week I've been sitting with my heart quite a bit. I've actually been forcing myself to take a little bit more downtime from all of the work with mom's situation, because I have just been so exhausted and drained and pushing myself too much. I have to back off on that a little bit. So I've had the time to sit and do some clearing. And it was interesting because at the end of last week's session, I don't know if you all remember me saying that it was very clear that some things had to end for other things to begin. And so within the past couple of days, there has been a conscious decision to remove a person from my life that wasn't really quite ready to remove. And it's disappointing, but it's okay. And anyway, so these reactions that I'm having have to do with other relationships and abuse and all that too. So it's all kind of intertwined. So I'm trying to figure that out. There's still something very deep-seated to something. Anyway, I am going to, I guess I'm going to stitch in, I think, with faith, because that's where I'm at again. I'm holding faith that things are coming together and that the universal forces are working in my favor.
Beautiful. And bringing you in, and the tenderness of your heart. And in this session, we're going to go into some really, we're going to call forth our power, and we're going to be anchored in our power. And then we're going to go into some tender places on purpose. So, you know, for all of us to have this awareness of how far we're going to go. But it's, you know me, I've always been pretty really gentle. I saw one sister came in, she had Kali on. I'm definitely not like Kali. At the same time, Kali liberates you and she cuts away the bullshit. And that's exactly what we're going to do with just a little bit more goddess of compassion to it rather than Kali and her fierceness. But whatever you need to have. At the same time, if you're at any point in time throughout the practice, something comes up, you'll want to have your journal really close. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions throughout our beginning to get into it. And then even in the practice, I encourage you to have your journal right there. And in the practice, there'll be times when I'm going to be specifically leading you, asking you very specific questions, ideally that you can listen and follow along because it's a pathway that I'm leading you. And then there's also there are a few moments, a few like Qigong movements where I'm not leading you. So you just have the integration, like I'm going to lead you through a movement, but your integration, so you have the spaciousness, and then we come back and then we do a little piece of the work, and then we have spaciousness, and we do a little piece of the work, and we have spaciousness. Okay, so how we're going to begin is by calling forth our power. Does anybody have any questions before we get started? Okay, so let's just do that. Let's begin. Let's call forth our power, right? Let's call forth our brilliance. Let's take a nice deep breath and sit in a way that's comfortable. Your eyes can be open, your eyes can be closed. But with your breath, as you know so well how to draw your attention, your loving, focused attention. Remember, your loving, focused attention, that is Kuan Yin, the one who pays attention, the one who listens. Draw that part of you that can listen and have an observer mind and draw your loving kindness attention, draw it into the interior of your being and let that loving attention float down and fill your body and let it float down all the way down to your center so that you are anchored in your center. And then let that awareness, just like we just did, let it go even deeper into your root. And with your next breath, let it go wider. Extend out to the edges of the room. And call forth the part of you that feels the most powerful. The part of you that has access to your brilliance. It could be in your professional life when you're working with your clients and your students. It could be in the garden. It could be when you're cooking or making art or riding your bike or practicing Qigong. Just call forth the part of you that is fully capable, and that part of you that you feel so alive in, that it's just so much you. It is the fullest aspect of you that you know, and that part of you just, oh, you're just in love with, right? And so breathe as she breathes. Sit as she sits. Feel that part of you that's filled with brilliance and capacity and skill and love and wisdom and grace. Feel her in your body. Feel her extend out. Feel her in your arms and hands. Feel her in your legs and feet. Feel her in your belly and in your breast. Feel her in the back of your body. Feel her in your brain and in your mind. Feel her in your bones. That very coursing of her essence as it's going through your veins. You are calling forth your wisdom, your grace, your higher order of knowing, your compassion and empathy. And you're calling forth that part of you that can be an observer. And so now that you're in this place, you're breathing as her, you're feeling her fill up the entirety of your body. And now this observer part of you can hold many different perspectives at the same time, right? And so now that you're in this powerful place, start to get real curious about your area of intention. So we're in this place of power, and now you're starting to get curious about this area of intention, and you chose this area of intention because it's an area that you're kind of starting to get stuck in, right? So while you're in this resourceful, wise, mature part of you, and you're feeling into now this part of you, this area of your intention, let's get curious, right? Let's get curious. Let's see, when you focus on the area of your intention, what are the challenges that you face? What are the challenges that keep coming up over and over again? As we're getting curious and we're feeling into your area of intention, we're starting to identify the inner barriers. We're starting to identify and come in contact with the patterns that are repeating, specifically in this area of your intention. So, really feeling into this area of your intention from this widened, resource, mature self, and get curious, like, what are the challenges? What are the struggles that you've had in your life in this area up until now? Where have you been getting stuck? What happens when you get stuck? When you've tried to manifest in this area before, and you've tried to work in this area before, what happened when you tried to do this before? And so is everyone getting a sense, starting to see a pattern emerging in that area, the inner barrier, where it's getting stuck? And so just for time's sake, I have a whole teaching of this. It's like a 2-hour teaching in the learning portal, just the teaching of this thing. So we're kind of going through it um, in the shorter amount of time, just so we have time to process and everything. But now you're in this area, you're in your power, you're starting to get a sense of these patterns. Maybe you've already seen them, or maybe something new is emerging, especially because you're in your place of power while you're looking at them. And so let's go a little deeper in a moment. In this area where these challenges are, where you keep getting stuck, this area of your intention, um, there are all these outside factors, right? Um, my first question is what, there are a lot of outside factors, but if you could think about, okay, so this area is happening, this challenge is happening, this pattern is happening, and there's these outside factors. What are these outside factors? And that's a nicer way of saying what I really want to say is, what's causing it? What are you blaming for this? Why is it? So, for example, if it's your area of finances, and you're struggling in that area, it could be, well, there's a recession and people don't have any money, and so of course they're not going to pay me. So that we're kind of blaming the recession, or could be in love and finances. In love, it could be, well, there's just no quality men in my age group in my town. It's a really small town. I already know everybody. There's like kind of not a lot here. So you're kind of blaming the circumstances. And if it's health, it could be, well, my grandmother had this disease, and so I got this disease, and so we're blaming our genetics. Get the idea? Yeah, so who or what are you blaming that's causing you to get stuck in the spot over and over again? And as you're staying in this wise, mature, fully resourced woman, and you're looking and feeling into this area that you're getting stuck in, this area of your intention, you're starting to look around at all the reasons that's happening. Some of it is ways that the next question is, how are we contributing to it? How are we showing up in the situation? Even if it's like 95% the other people, maybe really it is a situation in a love relationship where the other person isn't right, or that job isn't right, or people really aren't paying, right? So that can be happening. And when we're taking radical responsibility and we're stepping into love and compassion and we're stepping into truth as truth seekers, and we're taking radical acceptance and personal responsibility, what part of us, what part of you, what part of me shows up in this pattern and perpetuates this pattern? What way? The question is, what way are you contributing to this? I mean, it could be some people want transformation, but then they don't really want to do the work. Or I want to lose weight, but I really don't want to exercise. I I want to have a loving relationship, but I'm really not available. And so the questions are what choices or decisions have you been making that reinforces the pattern? And it could even be the question is what are you doing to reinforce the pattern? But it could also be what are you not doing that reinforces the pattern? What are you avoiding doing? And now would be a good time if any one of you has a clarity. It doesn't have to be all of you, but if any one of you, and if it is all of you, we'll just keep it brief because we're going through this path in a short amount of time. But if any one of you has clarity of like, can you identify what the pattern is? Can anybody speak to that? Or, okay, and who they're blaming and
One of my patterns is accepting less than I deserve.
accepting less than we deserve. And so who are you blaming for that?
I can only blame myself for that. I mean, and that's a lifelong pattern of not having my needs met. Like that's how it's always been. Like that's the comfort level.
Okay, so it's not that men are kind of not giving you attention, or your mother didn't value you, or you have an injury and now you can't get, you know what I mean? Like those are the those are the other outside circumstances.
Yeah, I've worked through all of that stuff, and I know that the right person will accept me for the way that I am with my injury and all of that. And I mean, there's a person that cares for me very deeply, despite knowing all of that. It's just that he's not ready. So I know that there's people there.
So, okay, so right there, that could be, it could not that it's making somebody right or wrong, but just for the awareness of this is like, oh, I found somebody. I opened myself up. I extended my heart to somebody who's right, and they're not available and they're not ready, right? That's kind of what happened. That's what I'm trying to point to is not to cut you off, but and I do feel like I'm moving quickly, but that's part just I'm encouraging you to open up to see that that might be part of the pattern to extend yourself to somebody that's awesome, but that's not actually available or ready right now. And maybe that's happened before. I don't know, but it's just a curious place to be like, is that a pattern? And so for something to just think on, and because that's my role tonight is to create power and to like touch you in places to get you to sense and feel and think and open up and poke holes into some things so you can have more access to power all the time.
Now you're in
Okay,
it. I
so I'm
mean,
doing that with
that's
love.
something I've reflected on for sure. So you're on point.
Okay, beautiful. Is there anything else that wants to be shared for anybody else? Or are we feeling like you want to go to so, but you're having a sense of what the pattern is and what you're blaming? Or is everyone having a sense of what they're personally contributing to, like how they're showing up? Would anybody like to share their personal contribution to the situation?
So the thing that keeps me in my stuckness is my overwhelm. And it's like this loop of overwhelm and then I procrastinate, then it makes me overwhelmed, and then I find things, I'll go to the places that are cleaner in the house instead of working on making the whole space nice, or I'll just focus on one little space instead of trying to look at the whole environment. And so that it's a loop of overwhelm, and keeping myself in that instead of interrupting that and getting myself out, because I know I have many tools to do that, but I know I can just loop and loop and loop in that instead of trying to step away. So it's the actual cycle of it, which is like needs to be disrupted
Perfect. And then I also,
and
what I heard you
managed
say,
on a constant and managed on a continual and constant basis, like within myself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And we're going to get to that part. But I also heard you say, oh, how I contribute is I procrastinate. Right? Okay. So you guys you're seeing the pattern. You're seeing, oh, I'm getting overwhelmed because I work a lot and I work from home and I got all the stuff and other people's stuff's in my, yeah. And so then I procrastinate. So then it's perpetuating the cycle. And this is where I'm getting stuck. And you can thrive in all these other areas. And yet, this one area that seems really important right now, we're stuck here and we want to free. Brilliant. So, you feel ready to go to the next place? Unless somebody else wants to share, we're going to go to the next place. Okay. So, are you sharing, Amanda?
I guess I did
Okay.
want to share.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, I keep, it's like I was like, what? How are my finances being an issue here? And I found myself blaming men, blaming men. I don't even see men. I rarely see men in my business, but I'm seeing myself spiraling back to, I'm a girl, I can't hit the ball. I'm a girl, I can't do this. I'm a single mom, I can't buy a house. I'm in business for herself. I can't, and all these men tell me I can't do things because I'm a girl, and I'm finding myself blaming men. And I keep thinking I love men. I want a man partner. And where is my daddy? Like I think it's some serious dad issues. And my father was such a feminist. And so when he passed away, to have all these men keep telling me, oh, you're a single mom. Oh, you're in business for yourself. I definitely think it all goes back to those damn fathers at the baseball field telling me that I couldn't do something because I'm a girl. And I hear that over and over again, a single mom over and over again. And I've made that my story. And I think what I'm messing up with is telling that story over and over again to myself. I think where I could get better is get off of those stories and tell myself the story I truly want to be in, because I think men are injured just like women are, but they have a different level of injuries. So the compassion of me comes in play.
Right. Beautiful, beautiful. And you're in such a perfect spot. And so it sounds like you know your pattern, and then we're also kind of blaming our father issue. Well, men were, father issue, and then just the men that's so clear. You spoke to that very clearly. And then it sounds like the way you're contributing to it is perpetuating the story. I'm telling the story, right? And that's my contribution, right? Perfect. So you all are in a really prime place of this next step, so you can still feel it. So let's go a little bit deeper, and we're going to just come back. You can kind of shake it off for a second, but we're going to go actually right back into this spot. So shake it off, give yourself a little grace, be proud of yourself for how far you've come already. And now let's come back to that place that you keep getting stuck in your body. Come back in bring your awareness down into your body and into that story and into that area of your life that's getting stuck, and you're running into these challenges and you just so clearly identified. And of course, there's more, but we're just kind of pinpointing this for now and just letting this be good for now. And as you're feeling into this story of where you're getting stuck and all the reasons you're getting stuck. And I just want to highlight all the reasons we're getting stuck. Some of it is real. Some of it is true. I mean, there are circumstances that it's not just made up, you know. Some of the stuff people did say whatever they said to us as children, and we do have a lot on our plate, and we do have a lot of responsibilities. It's not made up, right? But at the same time, we're getting stuck in it, and so we can feel it, and we're trying to self-actualize and awaken. And so the invitation is to drop back down and really get into the body and get into that place where you're getting stuck and really sense and feel it in your body, that stuck place, the place that you keep looping back, and it's starting to perpetuate a shame cycle. This is where we want to disrupt the shame cycle, but there is a shame cycle here. So finding that shame cycle, that place in your body where you're getting stuck, and the stories that you're telling and how you're contributing, this just starts to perpetuate, and just really drop down into that. And if you can feel where it's located in your body, if you can like place your hand on where it is in your body, really feeling into that, into your body. And what we want to do is we want to have our wiser resource self here as an observer as we're feeling in to this pain place in our body, right? And we're just going to take a moment here and feel into it. And we're going to bring our compassion self here, and just, if we could ask that pain spot, that discomfort, that stuck place, that shame place, if we could ask it what its name is. Like if you were to say, I am, and then finish the sentence. I am, or I am not. I am unlovable. I am distracted. I am alone. I'm not going to put any more words into when you feel that place. I am defective. That's what came to me. I am defective, right? What is that? If you can feel, I actually want you to feel it, to don't go away. This is radical acceptance. This is love and kindness. We're not going to dwell and linger here, but to truly turn your heart and turn your gaze to it and listen to its name. I am. And if you could write down I am and then your statement. And then as we're in this place, feeling this pain with your hand on your body, listening to the pain point of your body, others are. So like men are, authority figures are, people are, demanding or not available, or others are selfish, others don't value what I have to offer, others see me, others judge me, others are in my way, others are. Beautiful. And from here, in a world where I am too much and others are judging me, that creates a world where, so I am too much and others judge me, so the world becomes unsafe. The world becomes stressful. The world becomes dangerous. The world becomes, what is the world? Whatever that point, place in your body is saying. And so if you could write it out, that you're kind of creating this statement. And the reason you're creating this statement is because this is where you've been getting stuck. And this is a belief pattern that your body is holding all the time. And this is where this area, this is where your tree is rooted into this statement, whether it's conscious or not. I am, others are, and the world is. If you could write it out. Something really simple. I am alone. Other people are careless. And the world becomes lonely. Can you feel that? Is everyone able to find that? Can you, I'm going to kind of get a sense of the group. You can feel that in your body and you can wrote out a sentence, wrote that out. Because you don't want to bypass this point, because if you bypass this point, then there's the rest of it is going to feel good, but it's not actually going to liberate you. So it's actually because then what you really want to feel is the pain of this for a moment. Because if that's the case, I am defective and everybody's judging me, and so the world becomes isolating, then that's what I'm rooting in, and I want to bring my sacred work into the world. And what am I going to be able to grow from there? What are you going to be able to grow from there? If you're a tree planted in that soil, what grows from there? What it's kind of like, what shitty life are you destined for? That. Are you guys, I can't tell if you're on, has everybody made a statement? Okay. Can everybody feel the pain of it? Not yet? You can feel the pain of it. Can you feel the consequence of living in that? Can you feel how, if you're trying to manifest and have harmony in your health and harmony in your relationships and your finances, and if that's where your seeds are planted, which they have been up until now, you see why there's creating a perpetual struggle? And can you see how it's painful? And can you see how it's real with a lowercase r, but it's not 100% true? Right. So if you're in this spot, it's a good time. Let's practice Qigong. because I don't want to keep you in the spot, but I want you to feel it because this is the life you're destined to live. You keep running into it over and over again until you find the root cause. And it's right here, this part that's right here. So with that, let's practice some Qigong and let's transform that. Let's get to the deeper truth. And we're going to go ahead and shake it out for a second, because we don't want you to stay. I mean, we called forth our power. We called forth our power. We called forth our wise, compassionate one. We called forth our resourced and our mature, deeply rooted, loving, healing one. And so we want to actually merge and create a healthy, empowered relationship with yourself, because this is a shame cycle. And shame is often held in the body. And so we want to create an empowered relationship with the multitudes of yourself. So we're just going to shake it out. We're in a process right now. We're alchemists, we're healers, we're priestesses. We're in a transformational journey. And so we're shaking it out. And we're going to kind of move a little bit through this experience. Maybe make some sounds. Shaking it up, disrupting this pattern so we can have a kind and loving and very true, unified, harmonious relationship with ourselves. Okay. So as we're starting to come into our Qigong practice, as we're shaking, we're starting to let our shaking gradually settle, gradually settle until we have stillness in our body. And you are at the gate of your own self-empowerment, at the garden gate in spring. And in your springtime garden, there are many gorgeous trees growing in this garden. And your higher wisdom, your resource, your mature self, your loving and compassionate, fully empowered, fully awake self is your gate guardian. And she comes to you, my love, and says, oh, on your tree of life, what needs to get pruned away so you can be connected to all your sources all the time? Where in your roots need to get pruned away so that you can be connected to all your sources all the time? And so whatever was just coming up for you, all those patterns, all those stories, now is a great time for you to see them for what they are. Turn toward them with love and compassion, with radical acceptance that they are here in your body, and you are not dismissing them, you're not belittling them, you're not pretending that they are not there, but you are acknowledging and you are clear that something needs to be disrupted. And whatever that is, you speak that to your gate guardian. And whatever can be shed and whatever can be released, release that here. But we're not going to just pretend that that doesn't exist and we can just get rid of it. So with a humble bow, being willing to let parts of you get pruned away for you to thrive. And as you're humbly bowing forward, you're just letting yourself empty. And now when you're ready with your breath, slowly, gradually inhaling, filling your body up with life force as you unfurl your spine. As you emerge and as you unfurl your spine, as you stand up, you realize that is an old story. It's real, but it's not all the way true. And now you're ready for a new story, a true story, a story that's rooted in the deeper truth of who you really are, what's really possible for you, what's really possible in your life, what's really possible for love, for finances, for health, and for wealth, and for harmony in your home, and for your sacred work in the world. So when you're ready to step into a new story, step across the threshold into your new story. There we go. And we'll start with showering chi. And as we do, we are inhaling up the yin. We're inhaling up this practical, grounded part of ourselves. And as we turn our hands over, we're connecting with and inhaling with this broadened, wider, expansive part of ourselves as we're creating this cocoon to embrace us as the wholeness of our being. As we inhale, we're acknowledging the pain that we've been in. We're acknowledging what our body is saying. We're acknowledging these patterns. We're acknowledging what's here. And as we turn our hands over, we're opening ourselves up to the willingness to say yes, the willingness to grow and to expand, the willingness for new possibility. And as we integrate, let's do this one more time in silence with the awareness that you're creating an embracing cocoon of wisdom, of love, of grace, of power, of presence. We're going to do that one more time. This is your garden bed so you can cultivate the conditions for your own self-actualization. None of this is pretend. This is all very true and real. Right here, right now. Beautiful. So as we're harmonizing our body, these different parts of ourselves, we're going to just start to uncoil our joints. And so, you know how we always do in Qigong, we're bringing our mind inside our body. And now you've done this a bunch, and I'm leading you on a journey. So I'm not going to totally lead you through how you're coiling your wrists and your elbows and your knees. I will a little bit. As we're coiling our wrists and our elbows and our shoulders and our hips, we're opening our body. And what we're doing is we're connecting with the different parts of our body. Could you feel how expanded that higher mind self was? And could you feel how contracted that pain body, shame body was? It's as if there's like two selves in your body. So just, if it's possible for you to go with me, imagine that there are two selves in your body. There's your body self, and then there's your higher mind wisdom love and compassion self. Could you feel the difference between them? So now in your imagination, I'm saying it's none of it's real, but I do want you to bring your mind here of, if you can imagine that these are two separate people, what is their relationship? What is the relationship between your body and your mind? Like if these were two separate people in the same room, well, how would they be talking to each other? Let's go the other direction. How would their tone of voice be when they're talking to each other? How would they listen to each other? Would they acknowledge one another as equal? Let's shift sides and go to the other side. As you're harmonizing and sensing and feeling the self in your body as one person, and the self in your mind, in your higher mind, your wisdom mind, that expanded self, and then that self that was contracted, how do they relate to one another? What is their relationship? Do they trust each other? Do they acknowledge each other? Do they respect each other? So getting into, and now for a moment, see while you're moving your body in a way that feels good. You don't have to be doing exactly what I'm doing. All I'm doing is an opportunity to open up the body in a way that feels good. See if you can find that place in your body and find that higher mind, that compassion mind, and see how you can merge them together. See what it feels like when you unify them as one cohered person. Sense and feel what opens up in your body. I'm going to shift to center. As I'm starting to unify, I feel that I want to come and stand, have both feet on the ground. What do you feel in your body when you feel the part of your physical body unifying with your higher mind? Can you feel that unification? And just often by just bringing these two parts together intentionally, something shifts. Let's keep going, bringing your mind back into your body. What we want to do is we're not just going to simply have those old stories and just replace them with another story, right? That self that was hurting, that was I am too much, I am too little, I am whatever. Let's start to make our hips circles. And what we want to do here is as we're circling our hips, start to just breathe into the practice of circling your hips, knowing that this is an opportunity to create an empowered relationship between your mind and your body. And we do so by listening. So as you're starting to circle your hips, we're connecting to that part of us that was just feeling so much pain and discomfort in that old story. And we're not judging. We're connecting to that part of us, feeling it in our body. And with that now more unified field, and still deeply connected to our power, we simply want to listen to that sensation, to that aspect of ourself. It's often a younger part of ourself, but it doesn't matter the age. We want to go into that feeling and we want to listen to that feeling. So while we're making our hip circle, bringing our mind inside our body, inside that sensation, you can even say your own name. For example, Maria, what are you feeling? So saying your name and ask yourself that pain sensation in your body, what are you feeling? And simply listen and receive. And then once you see it, oh, I see, acknowledge what you see. You're feeling tense. And then ask yourself again, Maria, saying your name, what are you feeling? Asking your body, asking that pain place, what are you feeling? And once you receive it, when you can hear it, once you receive it, you say, oh, I see, I hear. You are feeling like you're in a hurry. And asking yourself again, going deeper, getting more curious. With love and compassion, really ask yourself, what are you feeling? What is this sensation? What are you feeling? And then when you hear it, reply back to her. Oh, I see, you're feeling. And really be with yourself and listen to what you're feeling and mirror it and reflect it back. Acknowledge it. You don't have to change it. You don't have to fix it. Just simply being with. And start to make your hip circles a little bit smaller while you're still being with the concept and practice of asking yourself what you're feeling. As you're making your hip circles smaller and smaller and smaller until you come to stillness, still listening. And then it just starts to naturally, you want to start to naturally go the other direction. But the next question starts to naturally, instinctively, organically emerge. So as you're staying connected with your part of yourself that's the observer, and the part of yourself that's the listener, the part of yourself that's resource, and the part of yourself that's experiencing the pain, without any judging and without really having to fix it, just ask yourself by saying your name, what do you need? That part of you that's stuck in that pattern, what do you need? I need to know that I'm going to be okay. Oh, I hear that you need to know that you're going to be okay. So as you're making your hip spirals, you're asking yourself, what do you need? Don't create the answer. Let the answer emerge from this old story. What do you need? I need to know that my family will be there for me. What do you need? I need to know that I'll still have something beautiful to offer the world. Oh, I see that you need to know that you'll still have something beautiful to offer the world. And so as you're making your hip circles, start to make them smaller and smaller and smaller. Really still being with this part of you that unconditionally is willing to listen to your own needs and your own feelings without judging, without ridiculing, and without shoulding or fixing, just listening and acknowledging and coming to stillness. And so let's from here, I'm not going to lead you through something right now. I'm going to let you still be in your own experience while you're integrating your feelings and needs with your higher self and with your body, with your pain body and your wisdom body, as you're integrating and you're just going through spinal cord breathing, something you know how to do really well. Inhaling as you go back, exhaling as you coil forward. Opening up your spine. Your spine is the pathway of integration. Your breath is a bridge of integration. If it feels good, you can gently open up your spine to one side as you coil down to the center and then rise up the other side, just to create space, to create new opportunities, to enliven, to change it up, to disrupt. And also this is one of the beautiful movements that puts you in a parasympathetic state and it purges out old energy. Just a few more times. Opening your heart, opening your body, opening the front of yourself, your vulnerability, and then opening your back body, creating a unified field of the multiple parts of you that's willing to listen to your own feelings and needs, to advocate for yourself, letting your hands float down. Let's do one twist. Their hands will come up, standing like a tree. You're rooted, you're branched. Branches are up, your fingers are up, top of your head is up, your shoulders are down, your knees are slightly bent. Inhaling. And then exhaling, turning from your hips, your waist, your low back up to your shoulders, just turning over your shoulder like a tree. Exhaling back to center. Inhale. Exhale. Staying lifting up through your fingers, lifting up through your head as you turn and twist. And back to center. Letting your hands float down. Shaking just a little bit more. I want us to do this one piece. It's time to really move through. This is taking longer than I thought. So now we have unified the field and we need to create a new story, right? So we need to create the new story. And this new story, right? So come into low standing tree. I do want to do this really quick because it influences our next session. So we're going to grow into the capacity to have a new story. So we're going to do muscle tendon changing. As you inhale, your hands gently float up. And then as you exhale, they turn and grow out to the side. We've done this before. Your pinky comes toward the back wall as you open and you're growing out. And then as you inhale, you're so gently drawing the energy in and down. As your hands press down, your legs rise, you're pushing yourself up. And as you inhale, you're going to let your fingers grow in front of you as your hands coil. These are your branches. You're branching out. And then you inhale, draw this energy back down into your body, down to your roots as your torso rises. And then as you come again, you inhale, your elbows drop, your fingertips go toward the sky as your body sinks and you start to twist and coil your arms so the back between your shoulder blades open and you're growing, your branches are growing up. And then as you inhale, you're receiving the light from the branches, from the leaves, and you're drawing it down into the trunk and down into your root. Okay, we're about to be able to create a story, a new story, but we need to learn how to grow and branch out and connect with our sources. So we're connecting with the wind, drawing it in as we're inhaling this time. We're connecting with what's in front of us and growing ahead and drawing it in, drawing it and bringing it down to our roots. Last one, as we inhale and rise our hands up, our canopy rising up through a canopy toward the light, your body sinks, you're connecting to this vast possibility, you're growing your canopy, your higher wisdom mind. And as you inhale and receive all of that light, all of that wisdom down into your body, down into the root, down into your trunk. So you're connected to all your sources. And so now you're standing in low standing tree. And you're standing, you're taking a stand for yourself. You're connected, you've harmonized the different parts of yourself, you've acknowledged, you've listened to your feelings and your needs, you've opened yourself up, you're in a field of power, you've branched out, you've brought in more power, and now you're ready to create a new story. So as in low standing tree posture, let's stand here. You're creating a new structure. You're creating a harmonized, unified field in your body. You're imprinting yourself with the pattern of the tree of life. So taking a nice deep breath, we're going to turn. And now, when you're ready to receive your inhale, let's just do the structure of this. It's very simple, but we're going to do the structure. I'm going to actually start right here. We inhale and exhale. In the pause, you turn. Now you inhale and you draw the energy up from your roots, up the side of your body, As your body gently, gently sinks down, draw the energy up to the top of your head. Return to center. Exhale out. Branch out. Grow. Return to low standing tree. And exhale. In the space in between, you inhale. Drawing the energy up to the top of your head. Returning to center. Exhale out. One breath up, one breath out. So as you turn now, you're starting to connect with this larger field of your roots. You're allowing this energy to connect with something even deeper and more profound and more real. And you're drawing it up to your canopy and you're opening and you're being generous with yourself, with your creativity, with your abundance, for your own prosperity. So as you do this, allow your mind to go to the deeper truth. You had the old story, now you're connecting to the deeper truths, to the what's real here. If you notice, every one of us put our hands somewhere here. Here, we're connecting down to something much deeper, drawing that deeper wisdom, that more grounded wisdom up through your body to the top of your head, all the way to your brilliant mind, unifying your body and your mind as you open out. And you're starting to ask yourself, what is my new story? Where are my roots going deeper into? What's my new story about what's possible for me? As we go through this form in our own rate and rhythm, let the form teach you, let the form show you a new story of who you really are. The truth is, I'm not too much. I just have been in too small a container. The truth is, I may be different, but that means I have exceptional skills to offer the community that they have no idea of, that actually really benefits them. The truth is, I am connected to an infinite universe, and I have so much skills and value to offer the world. The truth is, I'm safe in my body. What is the truth, the deeper, wider, more resource, truer truth of who you are? What is your new I am statement? What's possible for you when you're connected to a loving universe, to resources, and to a more loving, empowered relationship with yourself? What is the deeper truth about how you're able to show up in the world? I'm going to be silent for a few passes so you can hear your new story. Receive your own wisdom. One more time on each side. And now, as your hands float down, come into standing tree posture. Embrace the tree. It can be down here if it needs to be here, or it can be here. This is our final piece here. You've got a new story. Hopefully you wrote it down. You can remember it. Don't forget what your new story is. If you need to write it down, write it down. I'm going to ask you about it. What's your new story? But here we are. You have a new story, but now you have to anchor it. You have to align it into your North Star. You know how each time we drop into our center and we align the top of our head and we drop our roots? So you're aligning with your new story. So what are some actions you can take to align yourself with this new story? If we've been doing something the same way for a long time, maybe we need some new skills. Maybe we need some new capacities. Maybe we need new structures in our schedule. What actions do you need to take for you to align with this truth in the days and weeks and months and years ahead, so you're staying on course and you're not staying in that stuck place? So you're aligning with the deeper truth and you're asking yourself, what actions do I need to take, or what structures need to be in place for me to align and live with this new story, and with this new story as being a guiding principle. Starting to come down. And so now, as we're pulling down the heavens and we're integrating this experience with what our new story is, as we're pulling down the heavens, we're integrating and unifying with this personal responsibility, this action step of how we're aligning with truth of our new story. And as we're pulling down the heavens, as we're integrating, we're asking ourselves, as we're closing this, what are our next empowered steps? Like, what are the things we can do this week or next week, but really this week, to start to implement and anchor this new story into reality? What are some simple, doable, tangible action steps you can do this week? That you can anchor this story into your reality, into your body. And so as you're integrating and you're pulling down the heavens, this whole experience, you're feeling yourself coming through to the other side. You have found that old story, you've disrupted it. You found out that it was real but not true. You harmonized and created an empowered self, unified self that listens and that respects yourself. You came into a new story and you are aware of how you can align with that story. And now you're aware of one or two things you can do this week as a tangible action step. Spring is all about having a vision and taking action. So just a few more times, then I'm going to be quiet so you can actually integrate, so you can come to a completion. And on this next one, bring our hands and feet together and really just close out this practice. Just really let your hands take all the time you need to let your hands float down, to let this energy come down into your lower dantian as a source of power. This is you liberated a bunch of stuck energy. Don't waste it. Put it into your body and put it into action. And this is a very wood element closing. Once you get to the bottom, open your hands to the side and push it down. The rest, that the compost, push that down the sides of your legs into the earth. And we had a very profound practice, and we're going to bow out. So right hand makes a fist. You have this bigger vision, and this left hand covers it. Even though it's covering, it's not on top, but there is places that we're working, and we're merging the pleasure and the pain. We're merging all of this. We're not pretending that any of it isn't there. We're not simply covering it up. We're disrupting it, and we're growing deeper and wider, and we're loving and listening to ourselves with compassion and having radical acceptance, so that we can awaken to the truth of who we really are, which is love. And we're unlocking our potentials. Each one of us is riddled with potentials that we have not tapped into yet. And this is one step closer. So we bow. We bow to each other. We bow to the practice. We bow to everything that's unfolded here. And we bow to our teacher's teacher. And we bow to the tree of life, which is ultimately a representation of the teacher within. Inhaling, stepping back across the threshold, empowered, equipped with your new story, and I invite you to write it down.